From the nation's capital, your number one source for news, national, regional, and global. This is Kairifm Morning News.
The Ministry of Education is reporting a reduction of pupils to sit the 2010 Grade 6 National Assessment Examinations on May 25 and 26. Education Officer for the Measurement and Evaluation at the Ministry of Education, Robert Gist, says just over 1,000 students will sit this year's examination.
This year's Grade 6 National Assessment will be taking place on the 25th and 26th of May. That is next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. This is a change from the usual Thursday and Friday that we normally have for the assessments. This year, 1,050 students will be writing the exams. That is 517 male students and 533 female students. This is a reduction over the last year's number of 1,152 students. The students will be writing the exams in 51 centers around the island. And every center there will be 51 supervisors covering these 51 centers. Yes, actually we have 102 students less writing the exam, and this is due to the fact that we now have universal secondary education where the repeat rate in the grade 6, the repetition rate in the grade 6 is very much lower than it used to be in the past. In fact, 100% of the students are allowed to go to secondary schools after writing the grade 6 national assessment. In the past, only about somewhere between 38 to 50% of the students would enter secondary school. So the numbers were relatively the same year after year. But as I said, because of universal secondary education, where all students go, the numbers keep dropping. And we're expecting a further drop next year.
Education Officer for the Measurement and Evaluation at the Ministry of Education, Robert Gist. The Dominica Electricity Services and the government of Dominica could begin arbitration for $100 million in July for changes made to the Electricity Supplies Act. That's according to General Manager of DOMLEC, Colin Cover. The changes made to the Electricity Supplies Act reduce DOMLEC's license from 25 to 15 years.
We are not taking the government to court. We have asked the government to meet us in arbitration, which is different from taking us to court. Now, what has happened, though, is that the government has now filed in the High Court to prevent the arbitration movement from going forward. So, in fact, the government has taken DOMLEC to court, but we did not really take. In response to our taking them to requesting an arbitration process, they have now taken us to court to cease the arbitration process. Okay, so that is where we are. I think we have the first hearing is in July. Unfortunately, I can't remember what date. About middle of July will be the first hearing. But their attorneys have been speaking with our attorneys so far.
DOMLEC's General Manager, Colin Cover. Kairifm Chairman and the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, says the region has made a case for disbursement of funds from the European Union to be reviewed. The Prime Minister says the matter was discussed in Spain on Monday when heads met for the EU Kairifm's summit in Spain.
Of course, we also raised the matter with the European Union in respect to the slowness in the disbursement of funds. In some cases, we would have done everything required by us in terms of the financing agreement. But because of the rules governing the European Union funds, it can be a very protracted period of time, and it's not only within the Kairifm region, but of course in Latin American region, you also have those challenges. So, but all in all, I think it's an opportunity to renew our commitment to the relationship, to hear from the European Union in terms of how they see themselves being able to assist us even further as we try to grapple and confront the present global economic challenges.
Dominica's Prime Minister and Kairifm Chairman, Roosevelt Skerrit. Deputy Leader of the United Workers' Party, Claudia Sanford, says the vacating of 2 seats held by the UWP is an opportunity for the Constitution and laws of Dominica to be tested. Dominica's Attorney General, Francine Baron-Royer, has confirmed that the Marigot and the Salisbury seats are now vacant and that plans for the by-election are on the way. However, Sanford told Kairi News that the power the electorate has in electing their members of parliament is being neglected.
The situation as it is now with the Speaker of the House and vacancy of the seat is an opportunity for the Constitution and the laws of Dominica to be tested, because it's really and truly the first time that such an event is happening on our parliament. So I'm of the opinion that the situation calls for a test of the Constitution and so on. But what we see happening now is that a superficial interpretation of the law is what is coming forward from that of the AG. And the implied interpretation, which is really and truly what the Constitution is there to do, to protect the rights of the people and the adult suffrage of people, their vote, the power of the vote now is being neglected by some of the utterances coming from the AG and others like Tony Asterson and even the Speaker of the House itself. Because if the Speaker of the House has the authority, as that according to the standing orders, to vacate the seats of members, then it would mean that the power of the vote that the electorates have in electing their members of parliament would totally be overruled. So I believe taking it to the court and having the court decide is a way of setting the precedence, and for the first time in such an event is happening in Dominica, and not only in Dominica but in the region as a whole. You know, some of the outcomes of that would mean well for the forward direction of our electoral system and our parliament.
According to Mr. Sanford, the United Workers' Party will continue its boycott when Parliament meets for the fourth sitting on May 25.
Well, with the fourth sitting of Parliament, again, is another mockery, because what you see is that there is a feel of thought, and if you really look at what is happening, that the Speaker acted in haste, and as a result, some of the procedures outlined was not followed. So the fourth Parliament is, to me, is nothing but a mockery and an attempt to make what they did wrong right, and I just see no reason why we should, cancel the boycott. I think the boycott is legitimate in the circumstance of what is about, the unfairness of the election. We're calling for a new voters ID and the clean up of the voters. I think that is legitimate, and the protest is a worthy cause. So I just see no reason why the opposition should attend the fourth sitting of Parliament. I think it's just an attempt for the House and the Speaker to do what they did wrong right, because by right, the motion would have to be moved in Parliament asking, that the seats be vacated and all that stuff, all the procedural part, which they totally turn a blind, exercising their arrogance and power. And I believe they're just trying to make it right.
Meantime, Parliamentary Representative for Roseau Central, Norris Prevost, says the decision rests with the High Court to declare whether a seat should be made vacant or not.
That is the Constitution, and you can get the President's statement and you will see exactly his advice to Parliament. Any differing opinion is wrong and outside of the Constitution. In fact, the only other person who can vacate a seat from the House of Parliament is the member himself.
Parliamentary Representative for Roseau Central, Norris Prevost. The Dominica Football Association Division 1 League Final 1 to complete the round of 8 playoffs is set to continue tonight with 2 matches on. For more in this report, we join Gerald George, Public Relations Officer of the DFA.
The final spot to complete the round of 8 in the DFA Division 1 League will be decided on Thursday, when Quickzone Shift Up Icons take on Buster Waller at the Little Playing Field at 6 p.m. The round of 8 playoffs will kick off on that same Thursday at the Baffert State Playing Field, with Itasi United taking on Walton Insurance Harlem, while on Friday it will be Wacky Rollers versus Tremor Sports Club at the Little Playing Field. Both matches will begin at 6 p.m. Gerald George, PRO, Dominica Football Association.
And we thank Gerald George for that report. And in volleyball, Kairifm will bring you live coverage of an interesting volleyball match in Point Michelle this weekend. We'll tell you more about that in a subsequent newscast. That's the morning news and sports. Thank you for listening.
Kairifm News for total and complete unbiased news coverage. Bigger and better than ever. Follow the best news. It's only on Kairifm FM. Stay here.